Is it connected? Is it connected?
Not
So let me just sort it. Okay. A lot has been reported about the killings of our soldiers, 17 of them, in Okuama community in Delta State. A lot has been reported about it. And just yesterday, the Chief of Defense Staff spoke about it. Now, at the risk of repeating things that have already been reported, I will say that we put out posters of 8 persons wanted in connection with the killings. And there is a manhunt for those persons. One of them, a traditional ruler, submitted himself, and we wish that others will do the same. The situation is that there is a joint investigation team, and this joint investigation team has the police, who is the lead in cases of this nature where investigations are to be carried out. The investigation is ongoing. And I believe that some things are better left unsaid at this stage because it is an ongoing investigation. That is the much that I can say. Apart from the fact that if the public has any information regarding the remaining 7, please pass those information to us so that we can get to them and arrest them. Thank you very much. So now I can now formally come to the right, even though that man sneaked in. So yes, sir, can I go?
My name is Ernest Omarode. I'm here representing People and Power Magazine, originally arrived for refreshment. What you just reeled out to us is quite commendable, and I must say that it could be attributed to availability of intelligence. However, one embarrassing failure of intelligence was noticed during the adoption of those kids in Kenya. Would you be able to say something on that? At the risk of making you repeat what we have been saying, say something about this. Thank you.
Your question is about the kidnapped students of Kuriga, and you are, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say, but let me tell you this. There is standard operating procedures that has been agreed between the military and other security agents within the state, such as the local vigilantes, the communities. When certain activities are to take place, the military is to be notified. Notifying us is to put us on standby, on alert, and means that we will now deploy some of our assets to make sure that the needed protection for that activity is in place. Now, when you don't do that, when an incident also takes place, you did not do the first one, an incident now takes place, you don't even inform us on time until several hours after. What have you done? You have given the adversary lead time to have a head start. But that is a past issue, because you know that we recovered 137 of them. And I'm sure you must have heard of the casualties on the part of the terrorists that did this. It's been reported, and I've spoken about it. So we're making good progress. Thank you. Udoka. Troops of Operation Udoka recorded the following during the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized 253 terrorists, arrested 157 suspects, and they rescued 28 kidnapped hostages. The following also were recovered: 68 AK-47 rifles, 95 pump-action guns, over 4,000 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, over 1,300 rounds of 7.62 millimeter NATO, and 155 other assorted equipments were recovered by troops of Operation Udoka during the first quarter of 2024. Overall, troops across the theaters of operations recorded in the first quarter of 2024 the following: they neutralized 2,351 terrorists, they arrested 2,308 suspects, and they rescued 1,241 hostages. They recovered 2,847 weapons, 58,492 assorted ammunition, and 1,668 other equipments were recovered across the theater in the first quarter of 2024. They also recovered over 21 million liters of stolen crude oil, over 2,700,000 liters of illegal refined AGO, over 53,000 liters of DPK, and over 52,000 liters of PMS during the first quarter of 2024. Having reeled out all this, I will say that it demonstrates that ongoing operations are effective, and these operations are not just effective, but also result-oriented. Accordingly, going forward into the second quarter as we are in now, the armed forces is raising the bar. We are raising the bar in the prosecution of this war. Consequently, citizens will continue to witness an incremental effectiveness as well as efficiency of our armed forces. Beginning from January to March 2024. And I would like to start by saying that we are fighting a vicious enemy in these ongoing operations across the country. We know they are vicious by the activities of the terrorists in the northeast, northwest, north central, southeast. But nevertheless, we are ready, we are prepared, we are equipped, and we remain focused on what to do with these terrorists and their cohorts. Indeed, we have been collecting intelligence, we've been hunting them and striking them at their hiding places and in places where they are hibernating across the country. And our aim is to kill these terrorists and the infrastructure that supports them. Accordingly, we have employed significant firepower to neutralize several terrorists as well as disrupt their activities. Troops have killed several of their leaders, their commanders, and their foot soldiers within the period. Significant commanders killed include, but is not limited to, the following names mentioned. Famously known as Abubakar Mainok. He was the head of ISWAP. We took him out. We also took out another Haruna Isaiah Bederi. Others that were taken out include that Bederi was a notorious terrorist who operated along Bilingwari Forest in Kaduna State, as well as along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway. It will be recalled that we took him out on the 21st of February this year. Now, others that we have taken out within the first quarter of this year include Kachala Damina. He was neutralized in March by troops. He was neutralized alongside other 50 combatants. Then there is Kachala Alhaji Dai, another Kachala Idi, another Kachala Kabiru alias Doka, another Kachala Azarialu alias Ferin Rua, another Kachala Balijo. All these commanders were taken out, including the following: Ubangida, Alaji Baldu, among several others that were taken out in the first quarter of 2024. And I will say this: those so-called commanders, leaders that we have today, they are walking corpses, because sooner than later they will meet their Waterloo. How did we achieve this feat? We achieved this feat through synchronized strikes between the ground forces and our air force. These strikes were on the terrorist enclaves, their hiding areas, their safe havens. And for instance, immediately upon acquisition of a vital target, we scrambled fighter jets to carry out major bombardments on significant terrorist enclaves. Thereafter, we also have our ground forces equally conducting ambushes, raids, fighting patrols, and offensive actions against these terrorists. By the combination of these two approaches, we have been able to decimate the terrorist leaders, their commanders, and their foot soldiers. Our attacks and offensive actions in this first quarter of 2024 has resulted in 2,351 terrorists neutralized, 2,308 persons arrested, and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued in the first quarter. Furthermore, troops recovered in this first quarter 2,847 weapons and over 58,000 assorted ammunitions. And we denied the oil theft of over 20 billion naira in this first quarter of 2024. The breakdown is as follows. We recovered 1,497 AK-47 rifles. We recovered over 33,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition and over 12,000 rounds of 7.62 NATO ammunition, as well as 948 assorted arms and over 5,000 assorted ammunition. Other achievements within this first quarter includes the recovery of over 21,000 liters of stolen crude oil, over 2.7 million liters of illegally refined AGO, otherwise known as diesel, over 53,000 liters of DPK, otherwise known as kerosene, and over 52,000 liters of PMS, otherwise known as petrol. Now, I will take you through the various theaters and what they were able to do within the first quarter of 2024, beginning with Operation Hardenkei in the Northeast. The troops of Operation Hardenkei within the first quarter of 2024 recorded the following. They neutralized 626 terrorists, arrested 203 persons, and rescued 178 kidnapped hostages. Additionally, terrorists that surrendered to troops, including terrorist combatants, numbered 2,703. The breakdown of the recovered weapons and ammunition as follows. 478 AK-47 rifles, 130 fabricated rifles, 62 den guns, 103 assorted ammunition, over 9,000 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, and over 1,000 assorted ammunitions were recovered by troops of Operation Hardened K in the first quarter of 2024. Let's now move. Recorded the following in the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized 61 terrorists, arrested 405 persons, and they rescued 48 kidnapped hostages. The breakdown of some of the recoveries made include 106 AK-47 rifles, 204 fabricated guns, 90 assorted arms, 2,914 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, 1,255 rounds of 7.62 NATO ammunition, and over 500 assorted ammunitions were recovered by troops of Operation Safe Haven in the first quarter of 2024. Where we have Operation Wild Stroke. The troops of Operation Wild Stroke recorded the following in the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized 279 terrorists. They arrested 151 persons, and they rescued 73 kidnapped hostages. The following is the breakdown of weapons, ammunition recovered. 170 AK-47 rifles were recovered, 163 assorted ammunitions were recovered, over 5,600 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunitions were recovered, over 800 rounds of 7.62 millimeter NATO ammunition was recovered, and over 1,300 assorted ammunition were recovered by troops of Operation Wild Stroke within the first quarter of 2024. Move to the Northwest, where we have Operation Hadarin Daji. The troops of Operation Hadarin Daji recorded the following during the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized over 790 terrorists. They arrested 160 suspects and rescued over 800 kidnapped hostages. They recovered 494 AK-47 rifles, over 180 fabricated guns, and over 100 assorted arms. The troops of Operation Hadarin Daji recovered over 8,000 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition and over 120 assorted arms, as well as over 900 assorted ammunition during the first quarter of 2024. Still in the Northwest, Punch. The troops of Operation Wild Punch recorded the following within the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized 282 terrorists and arrested over 380 suspects while rescuing 93 kidnapped hostages. They recovered 186 AK-47 rifles, over 100 assorted arms, over 3,700 rounds of 7.62mm special, and over 1,200 assorted ammunition, among others. Let's now move to the South-South, where we have Operation Delta Safe. The troops of Operation Delta Safe recorded the following during the first quarter of 2024. They neutralized 54 violent extremists and arrested over 850 persons involved in oil theft and violent extremism. They denied the oil theft of over 21 million liters of stolen crude oil. They denied the oil theft of over 2 million liters of illegally refined AGO, 53,000 liters of illegally refined DPK, and over 50,000 liters of illegally refined PMS. Additionally, the troops of Operation Delta Safe recovered over 200 assorted weapons and destroyed 685 wooden boats, 8,416 assorted ammunitions were recovered, and equally destroyed 655 illegal.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.